Welcome everyone to Black Man Speak. I'm your co-host, VJR Stewart.
And I'm your co-host, Tommy D. Duncan III, otherwise known as TD3. It is Wednesday night, August the 12th, 2026. And if it's Wednesday night,
It's certainly Black Man Speak. So let's give a shout out to Count Basie for providing our theme music, to Forest Films in our own studio, providing our virtual studio here. And if you haven't already, please hit that notification bell, the like button, and subscribe to the channel. Not necessarily in that order, but make sure you get all three done. And if you've already done it, do it again just to make sure, because sometimes YouTube forget people who have subscribed to the channel. With that being said, if you're here watching the show live, please invite a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, or a frenemy to come watch it live with you, so you guys have something interesting to talk about for the rest of the week. With that being said, Tom, let's do what we do best: just bring information about what's going on in the world to social media.
all right, folks, for our show tonight, we're going to split tonight's show. We're going to have a couple of stories. One in education, of course, we would like to, of course, stay on top of what's going on in the world of education. And then we have a follow-up story to our prior story about the widow of Malcolm Jamal Warner and the legal battle that she has with her estate plan. And then after that, we have a special segment. We're going to talk about relationships and marriage, folks. This is something that JR has queued up, and we expect it to be an interesting conversation. So we hope that you enjoyed tonight's show. But before we get started with that segment, something came up in the news, JR, that I was absolutely surprised by. One of the most hallowed, well-known state institutions. Again, we can hear something in the background, maybe the breathing or something. I think we need to put you in there.
That's just me.
Okay,
Allergies. I'm sorry.
all right. Well, the
Yeah.
University of Michigan just recently announced a pilot program starting in the fall of this year, which is literally in about another week, to replace traditional letter grades with a pass or no credit system for first semester freshmen. The change aims to reduce academic pressure, help students adjust to college life, and address the ongoing student mental health crisis. So, what this means, folks, is instead of getting an A, B, C, I don't know if they have B's anymore, or F, you'll just either get a pass or no credit. And this is for incoming freshmen only. And I was actually kind of surprised by this. And it looks like I'm getting a message here. It's hard to hear me, so I'm going to get a little bit closer so I can speak up louder. But Jimmy, I have to read this about two or three times to make sure I got it right. University of Michigan, which is one of the most prominent state schools in the country, and not just for football, but its academics, is going to a pass or no credit because they don't want to put an undue amount of pressure and burden on incoming freshmen. Jimmy, I, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, Tom, and when I went to school, and I'm not sure how it was at A&M, but you could only get credit for a C or above. So if you got anything less than that, you may as well drop the class and retake it. And the only classes I knew of, heard of, that had a pass or fail were the remedial classes, which you didn't get credit for. So I'm not sure what University of Michigan is doing, and I'm not sure how they're preparing these kids for the real world. Tom, if you can't handle the stress of a letter grade, something you received all your academic career from 1 through 12, then what in the world? I mean, what are they doing there? Then all of a sudden you get to college, and all of a sudden the letter grade is stressing you out. I don't understand. I don't get it personally.
Well, Jimmy, I think, living in a day and age, and I understand that mental health crisis is real. I do get that. But when it comes to the rigors of higher education, I mean, that is point. I mean, there are some folks who go to high school, and after they get out of high school, they may get a job, go to the military, go to trade school. But for those who are looking for more academic rigor, they go to college. The reality of it is it's competitive. And the reality of it is college is supposed to prepare you for the next stage in life, which is a career. whether that's in corporate America, whether that's being an entrepreneur or whatever that may be. And the reality of it is, it should be more intense in college than it is in high school because it's preparing you for a more intense situation once you get into the real world and become independent.
Well, Tom, yeah, University of Michigan is one of the premier schools in the country, especially their law school. I think it's top 10 in the country. Listen, Tom, as far as I'm concerned, the only person that's feeling the pressure at University of Michigan is the head coach of the football team if you don't beat Ohio State. Uh, that's the only one. And the rest of them, if you can get into Michigan, if you can get to the University of Michigan, you can pretty much almost get into any school in the country. And you've been used to dealing with letter grades all your academic career. So getting to college and having to deal with a letter grade when you've been dealing with this all your academic career should not be an issue for you. So I'm not sure what they're doing, what kind of left wing social experiment this is, but they're not doing justice to these kids by pampering them. When they get out to the real world, Tom, they have to deal with real world problems. And one of the things that you learn when you're in that real world is the world doesn't stop, Tom. No matter what happens, the world just continues to go and move forward. And you have to learn to continue to move forward with it, or you get rolled over and left behind.
My concern is this: what is the message that is being sent for any students, whether you're freshman through senior, that you go pass or no fail? And again, some people may say, well, that may be outdated, but the reality of it is that you are setting the tone your freshman year, and quite frankly, when you go to the best schools in the country, you don't expect everybody to return. Everybody cannot handle the heat. Everybody cannot handle the academic rigors, and quite frankly, the social environment of the strongest schools in the nation, of which University of Michigan is one of them. And so, I mean, I was obviously it's their decision. I was disappointed. I'm certainly hoping this won't be a trend because the reality of it is, there were kids I remember going to school with at Texas A&M who got A's basically sleeping through without hardly doing any homework. But when they got to the big school,
This is just a different story. Yes.
and that's exactly the message you're supposed to be sending. It's time to pull your pants up and do some real work. And my
Yeah,
question
Tom, I was that way in high school. Made really good grades. Could I mean didn't have to study, didn't have to take notes. My handwriting was atrocious. And then when I got to school, I struggled that first year because I couldn't take notes. I thought I could sit there for to the midterm and just regurgitate everything that was in class. And I learned the hard way that I need to start taking notes. And even when I started taking notes, time I couldn't even read my own handwriting a few days after I took the notes. So I had to start getting. I had to start taking a micro recorder of the class to record the session, so I have something to study with. So yeah, it's a different story when you get to college. But on top of that, Tom, I think what they're doing, if you remember well, it still happens in Little League, Pop Warner, where everybody gets a participation trophy. So
Yeah,
if you take away a letter grade, then you don't have to worry about grade point averages and who's in the top 25, who's in the bottom 25, who's in the middle. Everybody just gets a pass or a fail. So now everybody's equal now. No matter how much you can work extra hard and do really great in the class, I can do the bare minimum and earn a C in the class. But now we both get a pass grade. So your A effort and my C effort are the same now.
it's the same. In my opinion, you bring up an excellent point. In my opinion, it stifles hard work and
It
competition.
does.
It neutralizes who's really ready for the next level when it comes to the academic rigors of going to college. Because if you can just kind of goof off and barely get by and just okay go to the next level, what is that really teaching you? That you
Nothing.
work. It doesn't really motivate you to give your best. It motivates you to do the least. If all you really have to do is just pass.
Yes, that's true. I'm with you on that one. Okay, Tom, what's our next story? What do you have?
Next story is a follow up. A week or so ago, we did talk about the widow, that being widow of Malcolm Jamal Warner,
Right?
Tanisha, who basically was trying to sue in order to get access to be included in Malcolm Jamal Warner's estate. Well, a friend of hers, a longtime friend of the widow, that being Tanisha Warner, we will leave the friend's name out of it, has launched a GoFundMe just yesterday on August the 11th to support Tanisha Warner and the couple's 9-year-old daughter as they navigate life after the actor's death a year ago and an ongoing dispute over his estate. According to the fundraiser, Tanisha is homeschooling the daughter while grieving and dealing with the legal and financial implications of suing the estate. And she remains in a legal dispute with Malcolm's mother, Pamela Warner, over his estate. Pamela, the mother, serves as the successor trustee of the Warner Family Trust, which Tanisha is seeking to hold responsible for obligations she says Malcolm still owes her from their 2022 prenuptial agreement. Tanisha is seeking more than 1.2 million under the couple's 2022 prenuptial agreement, including $1 million life insurance obligation.
Yeah, Tom, it's a long shot, but maybe she can seek help from the state and maybe try to file a child support claim against the state. I know that he's dead and generally the obligation dies at that point, but maybe there's some a legal loophole that they could try to exploit to see if they can make it happen. But yeah, she's in a rock and a hard place trying to get past that trust.
It is, Jimmy, and maybe the mother will see it within our heart to
She'll do the right thing, Tom. I
to,
mean, that is her grandchild. Come on.
right. I would think so. Again, I don't know what the relationship. Don't have information in terms of what the relationship was between Jamal's mother and the wife, but this kind of says a little bit. But again, and we've talked about this several times. This is why you cannot kick the can on ensuring that your estate plan is up to date
Gotta
and
stay on
ensuring
top of it.
ensuring those who are your loved ones are included, number one, and two, ensuring that the right folks are taken care of, or making sure that the wrong people are not still there, such as you may have an ex-wife who you've moved on from, you've married somebody else, you may die a normal death or untimely death, and then the ex-wife who you haven't seen or talked to in years is a part of your estate plan, and the current wife gets left out.
Right. Yes, very important details to go over. I mean, you generally don't want to be talking about money matters when you start a relationship or get married, but hey, that's the time you have to do it. Have that adult conversation to get your affairs in order at that point before you go
Gotcha.
too much further.
And we
Don't
got
assume that
a
everything is going to work out.
Right, and we do have a message here, a chat message from Miss Tiffany. We want to thank Miss Tiffany Smith for joining us on the chat line, and of course, cousin Audrey K for joining us on the chat line. Tiffany said it's hard for me to believe that Malcolm didn't have anything set up for his daughter. Now, this is the issue. From what Tiffany said, again, she said that he had every intention of updating his will, no, his trust and estate plan, which actually was established before they met, before they got
Right.
married, before they had the child. For whatever reason, the child is 9 years old. And so, in my opinion, there really is no good reason to not have it updated if the child is 9 years old. But for whatever reason, it was not. The mother has control of the estate, and all of the assets are going to the mother, their half sister, and I believe the father. So, again, we definitely hope this works out well, or they come to an amicable agreement between the mother and the widow and the daughter. And this is a message to everyone. Make sure it doesn't matter how much or how little, you should have something written down and codified and on record with the county to ensure that your affairs are up to date.
Right. Time and sometimes life happens. You plan to do these things, just don't get around to it. But it sounds like this trust may be a blind trust that the mother actually owns. That's what a blind trust is. You put it in someone else's name. They actually own all your assets. That's how your assets stay protected from creditors and from the outside world. But when he got married, I mean, I guess if you put the prenup in there, maybe it's someone he didn't trust, or he planned on maybe updating, making some changes later on down the road, and just never got to it. So it's very unfortunate that this happened. But yeah, you just have to do a better job at pre-planning these things out and having the adult conversation when you get married with someone, enjoying your life on how. Don't just plan how you're going to live together, but also plan on how you're going to divide things. If you have to split up, in case someone dies, what's going to happen?
Right. And again, to answer the question, they did have a prenuptial agreement that established some assets for the now widow, including payment for services rendered as a chief of staff. And then I think also in the insurance policy, he had an insurance policy that named her as a beneficiary. She had an insurance policy that named him as the beneficiary. But again, this is a trust, it's ironclad. So it will be interesting to see what happens. And again, this is in the state of Georgia, not California.
And Tom, I mean, sometimes you set a trust up because you want your assets to survive you. I mean, at least that would be my strategy. You know, if you have children and grandchildren, you want to plan for that. You want to leave your wealth intact, and just have like an asset manager to maybe help grow your wealth and be there for future generations. Then you may set up some kind of trust or living trust or blind trust for that to protect your assets. But you have to, you have to be very careful when you plan that trust. And if he did this before he got married, when you do the trust formation, it's the time you put all the instructions in as to what happens when you die. And so he may that I guess his instructions didn't include his wife and daughter because they weren't around at the time the trust was set up. But he should have made changes to that trust as soon as they became part of his life. At least the daughter. He should have at least made allowances for the daughter, even if he don't trust the ex. Even if he doesn't trust the wife, he should have made plans for the daughter.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Jimmy. And for what it's worth, best practice: get your estate plan set up, review it every year.
Every year. That's good advice. Tom, okay, well, we're gonna come at that moment of time in the show, Tom. Well, we're gonna get in the hot seats here. We're gonna put our relationship guru hats on. Um, and keep in mind, folks, this is just personal advice. Not that doesn't necessarily reflect the views of the official Black Man Speak show. So these are my views, these are Tommy's views, and we're gonna put ourselves in the hot seat and share our thoughts on. We have Miss Melina, some 6 clips of hers that we're gonna play, and then we're gonna share our 2 cent opinion on her viewpoint.
And
So
good
you
deal.
ready,
And before we
Tom?
do that, yeah, we do. I did want to acknowledge Miss Carol, who was on the chat line.
Hey,
Yeah, she said,
it's,
"How does the pass fail factor in the GPA?" This is U of M. And
it doesn't.
right, exactly, it doesn't. It
There's,
doesn't.
that's their plan is get rid of the GPA to make everyone equal because that's what some of these liberal universities are all about: equality of outcome, not equality of effort.
There we go. All right, Jimmy, let's go. I'm gonna let you go ahead and kick it off.
All right, you ready, Tom?
Yes, sir.
First one.
I have a confession to make. I, just like many women, are attracted to bad boys. Yes, I said it, but here's the part that nobody expects. We women are obsessed with bad boys who are good to us. Example? My husband. What does this even mean? He has a mission in life, something way bigger than just chasing me. His drive, it makes him mysterious, deep, and honestly insanely hot. He is unpredictable in the best way, surprises me with spontaneous dates, and keeps me guessing always. He also keeps me excited because I know other girls notice him too, but he chooses me. And that's the magic. He is loyal to his core, protects me fiercely, makes me feel safe and cherished, not small or controlled. And he lifts me up with amazing energy every single day. And he's not dominant in a negative way. So no, I don't want a nice guy who's safe and predictable. And I definitely don't want a toxic guy who plays games and screws with my emotions every single day. I want and have the man who's got that edge, and he uses it to make me feel like the queen of his world. Do not think that just being the nice guy is all you need. Nice alone does not light that fire. It makes you feel safe, sure, but not sexy. We don't want jerks who disrespect us, but we also don't want totally predictable, flat, zero tension guys. So my dudes, stop begging her to see how good you are. Show her that you have boundaries, direction, and real self-respect. That is sexy. Be kind because you choose to be kind, not because you're scared of losing her. And remember this, you're not losing to bad boys. You're losing to men who actually know their value and act like it and honor it. So stop shrinking yourself. Confidence, purpose, and drive. That is what creates the spark. Good men absolutely win when they show up as the full package, which is a bad boy that is good for his girl. Which one are you? And also,
All right, Tom. Well, you know my viewpoint on this. I've said it many times. Um, the good
Uh-huh.
guys do finish last. The betas that are out there who are trying to be nice and acquiesce and don't show leadership, don't show courage, don't stand up. Um, Women absolutely do not like these guys. They marry them, they have babies for them because these guys go to work, they pay their bills, they're responsible, they're decent dads, at least they're there. But in the end, after 7 years, women had just about enough of them, which is why they end up being divorced after 7 years, 65% of the time. Women do not like betas. What say
Well,
you?
what I say with this is that the young woman, sister, I guess she is, who was kind of speaking to, women are insanely attracted to bad boys, and that depends on who you're talking to, because every woman is not the same. Every woman does not have the same needs, and the reality of it is, some women are attracted to bad boys, and they're the wrong type of bad boys. And I think we've talked about this, Jimmy, in the past. They like the protection. They like the physical protection, but a lot of times other things may go along with that. And Jimmy, sometimes women get a little bit confused. They overlook the guy who may be nice, who may not be the athlete or the guy who is gregarious and gets all the attention, and they go with the guy who is sometimes a bad guy, who's a musclehead, who's getting all the attention, but later on in life, the good guy who did well in school, who may not have been the most gregarious guy in the world, he wasn't the most popular guy in the world, does quite well for himself, is very secure financially, and the reality of it is sometimes they go back and look and say, maybe I should have gone on with that guy. Now, where I will agree with her is that women are looking for men who are leaders. That doesn't particularly mean he has to be a bad guy, but a leader is someone who has vision. A leader is someone who knows where he's going in life and who sticks to his gun and doesn't just soften himself to the whims of somebody else, whether it's his woman or not. But they can respect a man who has vision, who knows where he's going, who has a plan, and I think that's one of the most important things.
So those are the most important things. And being a former beta myself, so I
Say
can
it ain't
attest.
so. Say it ain't so.
Yeah, it is so, Tom. Back in the early days, I married my college sweetheart. She was the only woman that I pretty much was involved with for 7, 8 years after we got out of college, and yeah, when we got divorced, man, I had no game, no rap, no nothing. So, and I got no play whatsoever as a beta. And but when once I learning from the bad guys, when the two guys I call George, I would buy them drinks and pick their brain. Um, they could tell me what to do, but they couldn't explain why it worked. So I had to study this time and find out. And basically, what it just comes down to is that women are security conscious. Women like confidence, women like strength of character, women like men who lead, who can make decisions, even if it's a bad decision, even if they're bad guys, that's better than the guy who doesn't make any decision at all. So once I kind of learned that time, and so that I went through the beta phase and went through my gamma phase. Um, yeah, you couldn't beat women off with a stick when you're a bad guy. That's how much they're attracted to you. And so really, in the end, is what she's talking about. I think is where I am now. I hope that's where I am. That's where I strive to be. I hope that's what my wife believes. Is a bad guy who treats the woman that he's with nice. So I think at my core I'm still a bad guy, that alpha guy, but I try to treat my wife as nice as possible. Try to be benevolent with her. Try to treat her as well as I can. Um, Not that I'm scared of leaving her, but because I treat her nice because she treats me nice. So I mean it's mutual for both of us. And so that's what you really want is a guy who can lead, who stands up, protect you, all those great things who work. We have all the good qualities of the betas, but also doesn't have his downside of weak character, fecklessness, can't make a decision, can't lead. But you don't want the bad guy, the gammas, who are going to misuse you and mistreat you. So you want that alpha type guy. Is basically what she's saying without saying it. I'm saying it. You want the alpha guy, not
Okay,
alpha phi, alpha fraternity. All that's where a lot of good men are made, but you just want that alpha type personality.
I got you. And Most women do not like a pushover. Now it's
No.
interesting because there are some women, and I just say, I can't say a minority, but there are some women who want to be in control. But a lot
Yes.
of times when they are able to find a guy that they can push around, he does whatever she wants him to do. Ultimately, she's not happy. And so, I've said this for a
Not
long
happy,
time.
Tom.
You have to find somebody whose leadership you can follow. And it's not everybody. But when a woman pushes a guy around, she ultimately, in the back of her mind, disdains him and eventually disrespects him. And so, confidence, very important. Confidence in yourself, which comes from knowing where you want to go. And you said something that is very, very important, Jimmy. Women are security conscious. That may mean different things to different women. It could be financial security, emotional security. There are a variety of different things under that security umbrella. But a man who makes his woman feel secure is of the utmost importance. And she can overlook a lot of things if you make
Right.
her feel secure. And that's
That
key.
is true. I know some guys, Tom, family members whose cousins, relatives of mine, who are very overpowering, overwhelming, want to be in control of everything, and these guys are miserable. I mean, they treat them like crap, and I mean, I sit around and wonder, like, I don't know why this is my cousin, my family members, but like, I don't know why he stays with her, but it is what it is, Tom. Let's go on to the next video.
All
I
right,
think
let's do it.
we got a consensus here that women want strong men, not
Amen to
bad
that.
boys who are going to treat you
There
bad,
you go.
but guys who are strong, leadership, strength of
Confident.
character,
Confident.
confidence. Yes, that's what, and we call that the bad guy syndrome, but really, that's
That's
really
not a bad.
what a good
That's
guy.
that's not a bad guy.
Right, that's just being a good guy.
Exactly.
So, okay. And what we
Uh,
call a good guy is sometimes a weak guy. But anyway, let's go on to the next video. Let's see what Miss Melania has to say.
Whatever you catch before marriage, early stages of marriage, during the marriage, if you don't leave, you have to accept. That doesn't mean you have to leave. It just means you have to accept. If you don't leave, you have to accept. This is just the rules of marriage. So whatever you've caught, whatever you've seen, whether it's before, after, anything, every time you catch or see something on your watch, like while you were together in any form, you have to at least accept it. That's all you have to do, is that he will probably do it again. Now, that doesn't mean you have to leave. If you feel like, look, I've caught him doing this, I've caught him doing that, he's disrespected me in the most way possible, but I still want to be with him, but I still think he's a nice person and he's good to me overall. The best thing you can do is learn to love who they truly are rather than the man that you want them to be. You want him to be this faithful man. You want him to be this monogamous man. You want this version of him. That version of him doesn't exist. It just doesn't. And that's okay. Look, I'm not saying this in a judgment way. For a lot of men, it doesn't exist. For a lot of women are living like this without accepting it or realizing it. But for your mental health, the better thing to do is think to yourself, am I really going to leave? If I'm not going to leave, can I accept?
Okay, I'll let you go first this time, Tom.
I'll be very brief on this one. There's something that my dad told me a long time ago, and I think it is very apropos to this specific segment. And he says, son, you have to know what you're prepared to deal with in a person, in a woman in this particular case. Nobody's going to be perfect. We're not perfect. But his statement was, you're going to have to deal with something. Just know what you're willing to deal with.
Well, that's true, Tom. I mean, I think it's really good advice. Now, I would say this, being married myself, and this is my second marriage, and hopefully I've figured a few things out from the first one and trying to get this one right. That when you are married to someone, you can't be so static in your ways that you're not willing to change. So you got to be open sometimes to making some modifications to your. So I'm understanding her point that if you're not going to leave, if a person is mistreating you, if a person is mistreating you, you should leave. Let's just have that adult conversation. I'm not saying anybody should stay in a bad marriage. You shouldn't. Um, but if you can make things better by listening to the other party and giving them some of the things they need. They want you to be a better listener, communicator. They want you to go on more dates, more affection. Whatever it is, if you can make some tweaks here and there and make it happen, just go ahead and do it if you care for the other person. Don't be so static where they're forced to, my way or the highway. This is what you get, and take it or leave it type of attitude. Um, but if you are in an abusive relationship, then by all means, find a way to get out because life is way too short to be stuck in a relationship with someone and they're being abusive.
And you know, it's interesting, Jimmy, when you say abusive, you typically think of a man who is being abusive to a woman physically.
Uh, Not in
But,
my family.
but a lot of cases, it could be the man who's being abused,
Yeah.
physically, emotionally. I mean, I will take you back to a story when I was in high school, and it wasn't an abusive situation, but it was a woman who I was dating at the time when I was in high school, and I learned when I needed to walk away because she did something that wasn't emotionally abusive, but she kicked me, and she kicked me in a place that wasn't a hard spot on my body. And she did it because of something that a friend of hers did. I mean, and it's like women playing with each other, trying to flirt with the boyfriend and that kind of thing. And I, when she did that, I knew I was capable of actually swinging on her. But I remember my parents told me never to swing on a woman, and so I knew that at some point in time you had to be prepared to walk away and leave.
Tom, that was maybe just a little love kick, man. Maybe you saying take one for the team.
That was a little bit too close. That was a little bit too close for comfort.
Oh, okay. So no love kick, huh? Okay, well,
No, no,
yeah.
no, no love kick. There's a play tap, that kind of thing. But when you start doing things that could help maybe hurt the family jewels, then now that's a problem.
And so I think her point is that if you're not going to leave, don't put yourself to the emotional and mental stress of just you either have to accept it or you leave. That's it. Because anything else, you're just going to stress yourself out being the victim. So stop being a victim. Stop. Oh, he's treating me wrong or she's treating me wrong. If they're really treating you wrong, either leave or accept it. So those are your two options, really. Let's go on to the next one. Um, Tom, this should be an easy one for us to deal with. So
Well,
this
wait a
should
second, Jimmy. Why don't we do
go
this?
ahead.
We have a
We,
couple
we,
of
oh, we got a couple of
messages
comments.
in the
Okay,
chat line. We got this.
shoot.
Tanya said, it depends on where a woman is in her life, spiritually, emotionally, financially, that determines what she might like per the season of her life that she is in at the present. And then we got one from Miss Cousin Audrey K. Yes, an alpha man who knows how to lead and not afraid to speak his mind respectfully and knows how to handle his woman's heart. And a man who is secure in himself will not be controlled.
That is true.
All right,
So that is true.
let's go to the next video.
All right.
Everyone thinks cheating is the ultimate deal breaker, but let me tell you the truth. There are three things that kill relationships even faster, and almost all couples don't even see it coming. See, cheating is usually the symptom. The real problem started way before that. These three silent killers destroy trust, respect, and connection, and once they show up, it is almost impossible to come back from it. Number one is disrespect. And no, I don't mean name calling. I mean the little dismissive things. Rolling your eyes, talking down to your partner in front of people, ignoring their boundaries. That builds resentment quicker than betrayal. Number two, admiration, starvation. Men especially crave respect and admiration. When a man feels invisible or constantly criticized, he disconnects emotionally. And once he disconnects, the relationship is on life support. And number three, broken loyalty. Not cheating, but things like sharing private problems with outsiders, telling friends or family what should stay between the two of you. That betrayal of loyalty cuts deeper than people realize. So here's the truth. Relationships don't collapse because of one huge explosion. They collapse because of small cracks. Cracks that turn into fractures long before cheating ever happens.
Okay.
All right, what you
Um,
think, Jimmy? Your
I'll
three
go ahead and
deal,
jump on that one first.
three deal killers.
So probably the most important takeaway from this time is that women should understand one of the points that she made about respect and admiration. Men need that more than they need love. A man can be by himself and be loved, or he can be with someone and be respected and admired, and even though she don't love him, and he'll take the admiration and the respect over the love. If you're gonna love me and disrespect me, then that's a bad combination. Um, so I think overall, Tom, the point here, and women should understand this, that women need love, men need respect and admiration. When you look up to your guy, when you hang on his every word, you take his advice, you think he's wise and smart and he's confident, and you know that you're safe with him, men thrive for that. I mean, that's a good environment for him. Even if you don't love him, he's going to be attracted to that. That's what he's going to fight to protect because he knows he's not going to get that from a lot of other women. It's very hard to get that from women. But if you're just talking about love, yeah, I mean, love can come and go. Men don't live and die for love. Weak men, insecure men do, but not strong men. Tom, strong men want to be respected. They don't want to be disrespected, and they certainly don't want to be with anyone who looks down upon them and don't look up to them. That's how you gonna follow someone that you don't admire or look up to. It can't happen. So if you're a strong man, you're not gonna have a woman in your life or fight to keep her in your life who doesn't admire you, respect you, and look up to you.
I would say that a woman isn't going to usually admire a man, isn't going to usually respect a man that she does not admire in some way. Whether that is because she may have attributes that are similar to what she grew up with, a strong father figure in her life. It doesn't particularly have to be her father or something else of that nature. You're right. I would agree with you. Men thrive with respect more than they do the traditional love that you see in on the television screen or the movie screen or something of that nature. That's not to say that love isn't important to men, but respect is what we, I think, ultimately truly crave, and that can come in different ways. And there's no way that a woman is going to respect anyone that they do not admire and
True.
adore in some type of way. And as it comes to the broken loyalty, that's a little bit of a slippery slope, Jimmy, because it depends on what's going on within a relationship. She says that you shouldn't share or talk about things that are going on in the relationship. But the question is, what if there is abuse going on in the relationship? What if there are some things going on in the relationship that, for whatever reason, you can't talk to your spouse about? Some people get therapy. Some people may talk to family members. Now, I will say this: I don't believe that you need to make your relationship common conversation with family and friends and things of that nature. But there is a line sometimes, depending on what's going on in a relationship, where you may need to talk to someone. Otherwise, Jimmy, that is why some folks stay in abusive relationships, because they have no one to talk to.
I don't think she was referring to an abusive relationship, Tom. I think she was more of the, I don't know, let's say there's something about you that's embarrassing. Maybe you snore when you sleep. And you're out at a dinner party or something, and she's sharing with friends, how I have to go sleep on the couch sometimes because my husband snores like a freight train coming through. I mean, okay, that's something that it seems harmless on the surface, but you may not appreciate her taking some private information about you, and that's going to undermine you and make you look bad in front of friends.
That
Even
that
though
is,
that's not, I
I
mean,
would
that's not that big of an issue. Nobody's going to think that less of you, but you may feel a certain way about her sharing that personal information. And the more personal it is, the more you're not going to want that information shared with everyone else. I mean, if you share it, then it's different. If you're telling friends, hey, yeah, I think I snore really loud and drive my wife out of the bedroom. Okay, well, you shared that. But if she shares it with someone, you may feel a certain way that she betrayed you or betrayed the confidence by sharing it with someone. Maybe you don't want them to, that you didn't want them to know. And there may not be anything that's really bad. Maybe you eat really fast. Maybe you don't close your mouth all the time. And sometimes you spit while you talk. I mean, I don't know. It could be something really minor. But you may not want to share with the world, and she's out there sharing it with someone, or he's sharing it with someone.
gotcha. You have to be cognizant of that. We've got a Shad says, okay, what type of man are you, Tommy? Okay, to answer your question, I'm my own man. That's what kind of man I am.
There you go.
All right.
Uh, and I know that to be true because I've known Tommy for over 30 years, and he is definitely his own man.
Or I
Uh,
guess I guess you would say what they call a man's man. I'm my own man.
yes,
Absolutely. All right.
yes.
Let's
Men don't need a lot, they just need the right things. consistently. And when a man feels fulfilled by his woman, he becomes the most loyal, grounded, and devoted partner you will ever have. Let me break this down. The 5 things that matter the most. Number 1 is respect. This is number 1 for a reason. Men don't love the way women love. Men love through respect. Speak to him in a way that does not strip him of his freaking dignity. Do not belittle him, nag him, or question his competency when he's trying. A man who feels respected gives everything back tenfold. Number 2, peace. Men go to war in the world every single day. They deal with certain pressures, expectations, and responsibilities that women never see. When he comes home, he's not looking for more chaos. He's looking for calm energy and a woman who isn't constantly in fight mode. Be his peace, and he will protect that peace with his life. Number 3, appreciation. Men don't hear thank you enough. They notice every little thing they do because they do it for you. His effort doubles when you actually acknowledge it, not with some exaggerated praise, just genuine gratitude. A simple, I love how you handled that, or I really appreciate you, goes to his soul. Number 4, affection and intimacy. Men need physical closeness to feel emotionally connected to you. So touch him, kiss him, make love to him, initiate it sometimes. Make him feel wanted, not tolerated. When a woman gives her man affection freely and confidently, his loyalty is locked in. Number 5, admiration. Let him know that you see him. You notice who he is. You believe in him. Men rise to the level of a woman who believes in their potential. When he feels admired by you, he expands. His purpose grows. His desire to provide, protect, and love you grows with it. So keep your man satisfied, okay? It has nothing to do with perfection. Nobody's perfect. It is not about being a maid, a mother, or a doormat. It's about being a partner who understands how men feel love, respect, peace, appreciation, affection, and admiration.
All right, Tom, you're in the hot seat this time to start off. What say you?
I think most of these. I think she was pretty accurate. I mean, her 5 things that I need. Respect. We've of course already talked about that. Peace. That's a big one. I mean, I learned that or that evolved. Later in life. I don't think you're really really thinking about that in your 20s and early 30s and things of that nature. You're just trying to figure yourself out, life out. But as you get older, as you mature, as you settle down, peace and peace of mind. Matter of fact, I would put that almost number 1 for most men who are mature or in that later stage in life. Appreciation, we spoke about that as well. Someone just appreciating who you are. It depends on your psyche and how you're made up. Quite frankly, Jimmy, some men need a lot of it. Some men, if they know who they are and they're confident they are, they may not need it that much. Every now and again, it's good to say, hey, I see you and I appreciate you, but may not be something you need all the time. Affection, that you've got to look, in my opinion, into the person's background, their family, how they related to their mother, their father, their parents. Some men and women, for that matter, if they grew up in an environment in a family that didn't hug a lot, didn't do a lot, it may not be as important to them. And so that's when you have to really listen and observe what their family life was like, and/or, quite frankly, ask the right questions. And again, I think the last one was admiration, which ties back to the earlier one with respect.
Okay. Well, I agree with all of the points, Tom. And I can remember when I was small and just go spend the summer with my grandmother. She would tell me that there were 3 things that are important to a man: his money, his love, or his heart, and then his peace of mind. And she said, of the 3, money and emotions are the least important. So your point there is well taken. That at some point, as you mature as a man, peace of mind is going to be the most important thing in your life. And if you have a woman who brings you peace and can bring the other things to the table, that's great. You hold on to her. But if a woman's introducing chaos into your life, I don't care how much of the other pieces are in place. Uh, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. You'll have to go if the guy's a strong guy. So that's just the way it is, lady. I know some women don't like hearing that because sometimes women may use chaos, or even men to some degree may use chaos as a control mechanism to try to get their way. Because sometimes the make up sex and the apology is what people strive for. But but yeah, at some point as you mature in life as a man, a strong man, peace of mind is going to become very important to you,
And I
and you just don't have time for all of the chaos and drama and problems.
And I think again that that speaks to your stage in life when you're younger, in your teens and your 20s, and everything is about excitement and drama and intensity. Then that chaos is exciting to some people. But as you mature in life and you evolve, and you're just trying to, you're on the back nine in life, it completely flips.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. All you got to do is keep living. Um, Tom, we have about 13 minutes left, and we got two more clips left. Let's see if we can
Okay,
get to these
let's see if
last
we can get
two
those.
on time. Let's go.
Cold, hard truth about marriages in the US, and it is going to sting. The CDC says the divorce rate in the US is 2.4 per 1,000 people, and 70% of those divorces are filed by women. That is not my opinion, that is data. And staying married doesn't mean that you're necessarily happy. Maybe about 1/3 of married couples actually report being happy. And the intimacy, it's collapsing. Research from the JAMA shows weekly sex in marriages has been dropping for the last 2 decades. So what does that tell you? A lot of marriages might look good on Instagram or on whatever social media, but behind closed doors, they are cold, resentful, and sexless. Men, too many of you stop leading. You get soft, you lose your edge, and your wife checks out. Women, too many of you settle for convenience. You marry from unhealed trauma, and years later, you're bitter and unfulfilled. That is why it all falls apart. Bottom line is, most people settle. They don't marry from strength. They marry from fear. And if you don't do the inner work on yourself first, you're just another divorce statistic waiting to happen.
All right, JR, you are obviously the aficionado on this. I mean, for someone who's not married, hasn't been married, I'm gonna have to lean, I'm gonna have to lean to you on this one, brother.
All right, Tom. We've covered this on the show before, and I'm going to continue to say it because the number has proven to be true. College educated women who marry betas are divorced after 7 years. That 7 year itch is a real thing. It's not some made up number, not some slogan that someone came up with because it sounds good. It's a real thing. And so it really, that high divorce rate is the women who are coming out of college, who are marrying these guys that are safe, that are going to go to work, that are going to pay pay bills, do all the right things. But in the reality, they're betas, and in the end, we know how that's going to end. After about 4 years, she absolutely cannot stand them. And it takes about another 3 years for her to build up the courage to break her family up and leave. And then for the ones who don't get divorced, they're sitting up at night trying to figure out how to put that pillow over your head while you sleep and how they can get away with it. If Johnny Cochran was still alive, boy, if I could just call Johnny up and ask him how much would it take to get me off if I take this pillow and just snuff him out while he sleep, could you get me off? Could you do an OJ for me? Could you pull another hat trick for me? Yeah, but Johnny's not around, so a lot of these beta husbands who are still married are safe for the moment. But that's where it is, Tom. The best thing to do is really, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a beta. I mean, the quote unquote nice guy, but you have to understand that your days are numbered. Your wife is not happy. And generally, one of the first things that go that you when you know that the marriage is in trouble is the sex life. Women find it very difficult to share their bodies intimately with someone they're not attracted to. And women just stop being attracted to these betas after the first couple of kids. Life settles in. So the best thing you can do, guys, if you are a beta, start working your way out of that beta. Start becoming more of a leader. Start becoming the things that your wife needs you
Yeah.
to be for her to stay attracted to you. Because if not, you're gonna become end up being a statistic,
And
or you're
now,
gonna be an
now, now,
unhappy guy.
now, Jimmy, there's an old saying, you can't teach what you don't know. So how are you going to tell the betas to work themselves out of being a beta, and that's all that they know?
Tom, then they have to get out of their comfort zone. If you do not make decisions in your home, then you start putting your foot down, start making some, and standing by them. And if even good decisions, bad decisions. And here's what I would say, ladies: if your guy's trying to become a leader, let him lead. Even if you make bad decisions initially, because it's a learning process. No one goes to the base, goes up to the bat the first time in a grand slam. You're going to strike out a bunch of times. You're going to get thrown out at base. You're going to get thrown out stealing second a bunch of times before you get those home runs and grand slams. So it just takes it's a process. But if he's trying to lead, let him lead. Don't be a ball buster and beat him down because he made a bad decision. The other thing is, guys, be more protective. You put yourself out there. Now, it's okay for you to make the final decision. Sometime get control of your finances. Go to PTA meetings. Control your children's education. So you have to accept responsibility for everything that happens in your house. Not that you don't share some responsibility with your wife or your woman, but ultimately the buck has to stop with somebody, and it needs to stop with you. And once you start accepting that the buck stops with you, and you start acting accordingly, I mean, the rest of this is just learn. It's not anything that you have to go to school for or have a mentorship for. But for the betas out there, for women who have beta husbands, if they don't know how to step up to the plate, hell, just tell me, reach out to me. I can give them some pointers to set them on the right track. So you don't have to divorce a good man because he's a beta, and you don't have to sit there and be miserable with him because you don't like who he is. If you find yourself in a marriage or a relationship with a beta, before you dispose of them, give me a call.
All right, and we got a message in the chat line from Ms. Talking says, let's bring women and men into the conversation. Jimmy, book a panel of women and men to talk about relationships, why black men are married, not getting married anymore. That could be one of the topics. So,
Well, we've done a couple of shows, Tom. We brought the women on to talk about the women's side of all of this, and we've totally just let them drive the whole show. We've done that for about 3 4 times that I know of on relationships and health matters. So we're open to that, Miss Tanya. And in fact, if you want to be a panelist and come get on the show and bring a couple of your friends, we would turn the entire show over for 1 hour to you and your friends and let y'all talk about issues from your perspective.
all right, there we go. Okay, Jimmy. All right, we've got about
Is
7 minutes.
there any questions? Are there other questions or comments before we
No,
move on to the last video?
no, I believe that's it.
Okay, and then here's our last video, ladies.
I have said it once and I'll say it again. If you do not want your husband or your boyfriend to cheat, it's very simple what you need to do. Here are the 5 things, guys. Initiate intimacy. Don't make your man beg. Okay? I mean, every day. Number 2, make sure there is a home cooked meal on the table. If you guys don't live together, that's fine. You could bring him over some food to his house. Number 3, clean. Clean the house. Pop over to his house, surprise him, clean his house. Number 4, do his laundry. It is such a easy thing to do and could go a long way. Number 5, when he gets home, give him some peace and quiet. The last thing he wants is a chick that is nagging at him, complaining, asking him to do things that you know he's not going to want to do. So give him some peace and quiet. It's very simple, ladies. If you want to keep your man happy, do those 5 things. Problem solved.
Okay, Tom, we saved this for last because it's going to be the most controversial. Um, and I will let you go
When
first if
you
you
say when
like.
you say when you say controversial, controversial in what way?
I think in the age of the feminist movement, the Me Too's, and the women who wear the vagina heads and protest, yeah, that message of cooking, cleaning, washing for a man.
So what you're saying is controversial because it's speaking to being a traditional.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that the point Melina is trying to make here is that if you're dating and you're not married, demonstrate what the future is going to be like with you. Bring the peace. If there's a guy that you're interested in, show him that this is what it's going to be like. You're going to have a peaceful environment when you come home. There's going to be food cooked. The house will be clean. Your clothes will be clean. I'll make sure all those things are taken care of so you can have peace of mind. And that if you can do that, Your guy has absolutely no reason whatsoever to cheat on you or to be looking for affection any place else with someone else. He'll be a fool too. And as Chris Rock said, there's power in the pot. You know, you start cooking and you throw down in that kitchen. Yeah, you just open the pot up, let the smell permeate through the house. Yeah, he's not going anywhere, especially if he's hungry.
I would say this. I mean, I think a lot of what she's speaking to is accurate, but make sure you're not giving the wrong message. This should go to the right person, not everybody.
No, not everyone. So I'm the right man.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly. The right man, not everybody. So
because if he's a piece of crap guy, he's not going to appreciate it.
he's not going to
Uh,
appreciate it and just take advantage of you.
Right, that is absolutely true. So you need someone who actually cares about you, who does all the right things, who listens, take your counsel, tries to keep you happy. Do date nights, take you out, compliments, and Tom, those should not be difficult things to do. And actually, and you'd be surprised if you're not very good at it. Like for instance, I'll tell you a personal story. I listened to a lot of Zig Ziglar when I was coming up, and when I was on this trying to figure out what I was going to do about my dating life, which is in shambles. One of the things I figured I was going to have to do that I saw the players do, my two Georges, man, they threw out the compliments like this. I mean, they just roll off their tongue. Every time they saw someone, they found something nice to say about it. And like again, they would tell me that's what you have to do, but they didn't know why it worked. So, of course, me being the engineer and scientist, I have to go figure out exactly why things work.
You
To
had to
fig-
do the analysis.
I had to do the analysis, Tom, to figure out. But you know what? There's a lot of power in a compliment and finding the good in people. You start making a woman smile, you make her laugh, you make her feel good about herself. Tom, I would meet women who say, "Oh, you involved with someone?" I would say, "Yes, I have two girlfriends." And you would think that would turn a woman off that you are already seeing a couple of people. And like, well, why are you pushing up on me if you already have two girlfriends? Because I have room for a third. Because I'm just that good. And I know that whatever piece of crap guy that you're with who let you come to this club, where there's guys like me who are going to prey on you, is not doing what he's supposed to do. So one third of me is better than 100% of what you have. And Tom, that would create some intrigue, create some laughter and humor, and then plus on top of that shows confidence, and then you pound on the compliments. And I already know the problem, the situation at home. He doesn't talk to you, he doesn't spend time with you, he doesn't appreciate you. The only time he really wants to be bothered with you is when he wants to get busy. I already know your life. Because if that wasn't your life, you wouldn't be here by yourself. You may be here with your girlfriend, but you wouldn't be here by yourself on a Friday for happy hour. So the fact that you're here, that lets me know that you need a guy like me. Even if you do have a piece of crap guy in your life already, this is the upgrade here. And you owe it to yourself to pursue the opportunity to upgrade in your life. And trust me, if you end up being the woman that I need, I don't need the other two. If that's the case, if you bring that much to the table, and I'm thinking I bring enough to your table for you to get rid of your piece of crap guy. Well, if you bring enough to my table for me to get rid of my other two, then we'll have a great thing going. And you may think that doesn't work, Tom, but over a 7 year period, to date over 300 women, a lot of that confidence and boldness actually worked. Doing my
300,
bad 340,
342 women.
342, Tom, to be exact. I kept count. I had
Man,
to keep a log of everything because
man,
when you're living foul like that, you can't mix up dates and activities. I don't even wear a watch now. Tom, I used to wear a watch back then. I had to keep a close schedule. I had to be on time. I had to end stuff on time because I always had to get to my next date to the next woman. Trying to shuffle 3, 4 relationships at all times becomes taxing. People leave stuff at your house. When you find it, you got to make sure you put it back when they come back. You got to make sure that in your bathroom, for example, you got to make sure they don't leave hair in your brush. They don't throw anything in your trash can that another woman can look in there and say, "Well, who's been here?" Because somebody else's hair is there. I mean, there's effort that it
I'm saying,
takes
and
to
Jimmy,
be a
now that
player and do it right.
now that it's 9 o'clock, I'm going to do what you asked me to do, which is cut you off because we are about out of time for the show. But there are a couple of other notes that we have here.
Okay, what do we have?
Most women do have those things naturally without having to perform the role. to get them, and she would be emotionally mature enough to not play wife role while in homegirl status. That was from cousin Audrey K. We have Miss Tiffany. My my late aunt, who was married to my uncle for 50 years, did those things, but as she told us, she never paid a dime towards the mortgage. Miss Tanya, it depends on where the couple is in a relationship for all of this cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, etc. How long is the relationship been going on? We got Miss Marion Square. She said not two. I think that's probably your diatribe. And let me see here. JR was in them streets. Miss Marion said you was in them
Yeah,
streets.
it was. Tom in a bad way. I had to get out of it though. I left that behind. So there's no more in my life. Hey, but the point is, Tom, I don't think I think the point is about you don't play wife in a dating relationship. I agree with that. But you also want to demonstrate on both sides. He needs to demonstrate some things to you. You need to demonstrate some things to him. So since we're talking about this from a male perspective, there's nothing wrong with a woman demonstrating what the future would be with me. And that's basically what that is. Just like there's nothing wrong with him demonstrating that he can support you financially, take care of kids, put a roof over your head, protect you physically, emotionally, and everything else. So those are things that when you're dating, you demonstrate while you're dating. So it doesn't become a mystery where you have to accept something because you're now married and these things didn't come out while you were dating. They never were demonstrated. You just assumed it was going to happen and they didn't happen. He's really not that way or she's not that way. So there's nothing wrong with demonstrating how life is going to be. If a person doesn't appreciate it, then move on. Let them go.
All right, there we go. There we
All
go.
right.
All right.
We're a few minutes over.
We're a few minutes over, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. We want to thank everybody who joined us on the chat line. We got Miss Tiffany, Miss Carol, Miss Tanya, Miss Marion Square, cousin Audrey K. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody who contributed on the chat line. And I think that we have gotten everybody who's on the chat line. I want to thank everybody.
And the offer still stands, Tom. If there are three women out here who want to come get on the show and host the show and talk about things from a woman's perspective, we'd be glad to turn the whole show over to you for an hour.
All right, folks. We want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. Of course, share this information with someone who you think would enjoy or learn from this conversation. And of course, make sure to join us next week because if it's Wednesday night,
Did the black man speak?
thank you, everyone.